Good morning, people. JK with Porn Reboot here. Heading back from the gym on a very rainy day. Today I'm going to talk about why you forget the pain of your addiction so easily. And what I mean by this is, you know how sometimes you feel a lot of pain and shame and guilt and frustration when you say you're going to stay off porn for maybe 30 days and then you slip. And then you ask yourself, I've played this game so many times. 2 years ago, a year ago, 5 months ago, 3 months ago, I was sitting in front of my masturbation station, jacking off. I orgasmed, and I swore to myself that I was done feeling this way, that this was bullshit. So why is it that today, last night, the night before, I'm still doing this, even though I experience a lot of pain? Isn't pain supposed to be an indicator that I shouldn't do something? So why do I keep doing it? This is an important part of addiction. I'm going to explain it to you in a very elementary way, in a very basic way, because one of the things I've noticed is that a lot of guys go on sites such as Your Brain on Porn, or they read books or watch videos, and they're not interested in the scientific aspects of addiction. They just skip over it. I mean, they read it, they'll watch the videos, but they'll skip over it because it's science-y. And I totally get it. Sometimes people just want a very simple breakdown of what's happening. I'm one of those people. I've never been a fan of long, detailed scientific breakdowns, but the reality is you have to understand the science of what's going on in your brain to go all the way in your recovery. I'm going to share why you forget the pain and what you can do to remember it and use it as motivation in your recovery. So there are two major areas of your brain that are involved in your porn and masturbation addiction, or any other sort of sexual compulsion that you may have. And those two parts of your brain are the neocortex and the midbrain. The midbrain is closer to your spinal cord, towards the base of your head, and you can consider it as the oldest part of your brain. Everything else evolved later. One of the main functions of the midbrain is your survival. So when you are hungry, it is the part of your brain that's going to tell you, hey, you need to eat. When there's stress, it is the part of you that lets you know that you need to do something about that stress and respond to it in a specific way. The interesting thing about it is that compared to the neocortex, the midbrain doesn't have much of a memory. Your neocortex is a larger part of the brain. It's a newer part of the brain compared to the midbrain, and it's responsible for things such as your conscience, for making important decisions, for your morality, things like that. And that's what you use to make conscious choices when your midbrain is reacting to things as if we were, caveman. The neocortex is amazing for your memory. The midbrain, not so much. An interesting thing that happens is when you're sleeping, your neocortex, for the most part, shuts down. Your midbrain doesn't, because it needs to protect you. Your midbrain will wake you up if there's danger. Your midbrain will wake you up if you need to use the bathroom. Your midbrain will wake you up if you're hungry. Your midbrain will wake you up if anything unusual happens, because it's there to protect you and keep you alive. But it's also your midbrain that is seriously affected by your addiction. It is your midbrain that is hijacked when you watch pornography. You're having a normal day, you're conscious, you know exactly what you're doing, and that urge kicks in. That urge to I need to do something. I need to watch porn. I need to act out. Maybe you got angry at something, or maybe you got bored. Or maybe you just started fantasizing for a reason that you cannot identify. That thing that takes over, that thing that takes you to the bathroom with your phone, that person you are, that whatever your rituals are when you're acting out, whether it's closing the curtains, making sure the door is locked, all those little rituals, that person you are when you're engaging in that behavior is your midbrain. It is that animal, that beast inside you. That is what is making all those decisions and running your life. At that moment, you are quite literally an animal, because you are using a part of your brain that is only interested in your survival. And your midbrain reacts to these things within about 30 seconds. And if you're using that part of your brain most of the time, that implies that you're not using and not developing your neocortex as much as you should. Because when you experience anger, or you are lonely, or you are bored, or you are sad, or you are slightly depressed, instead of using your neocortex to deal with your issue in a logical way, you're just giving up control to the midbrain. And the midbrain is just like, raw, I'm gonna deal with this. Let's jack off, bro. Let's watch porn. Let's get into voyeurism. Let's just do some shit that's gonna release dopamine, and you live, bro. You live. Oh, you don't like your boss? Oh, there's a girl you talked to and she rejected you? Oh, you're stressed out. There's too much work to do. You can't handle it. So your midbrain reacts. Your midbrain is like, stress, stress, stress. Let's deal with it. You're not using your neocortex. So what do you think is happening to your neocortex? You're not developing enough neural pathways in there to deal with your problems in life. Okay? So how do you deal with this? Well, a good recovery system, like mine, will teach you how to develop your neocortex and use it to build coping skills that you can use when you feel stressed, or you feel any strong emotion, or you feel lonely, or you feel depressed, instead of giving control to your midbrain. That's the first thing it's going to do. Another thing it will do is it will teach you how to become aware of your midbrain. Because if you are not aware of your midbrain, since it just reacts, then you're never going to be able to short circuit it. It's just an animal. It's just a beast. And there's so many different ways that you can become aware of it. You can do this through dialoguing, which is actually creating a personality for that animal in your brain and quite literally speaking to it like a crazy person, but a crazy person who's doing crazy shit to help himself. Another way is mindfulness or mindfulness meditation. And you can practice mindfulness in your life. That is a practice where you can observe that part of your brain, and the more aware you become of it, the less power it has. Because now you're going to be able in your day-to-day life to catch your midbrain when it's fucking up and when it's reacting, and instead of reacting, you respond. I remember during my recovery 10 years ago, I had a quote on my wall which said, "Don't react. Don't react." Because one of the things I wanted to hardwire into my brain was not reacting to emotions, not reacting to loneliness or boredom or any sort of pain. Instead, I wanted to train myself to respond when these things happen. And you respond using your neocortex. So, I hope this very basic, primary, elementary description of what happens in the brain when you struggle with a porn or masturbation addiction, at least from the standpoint of reacting. I hope it's been helpful to you guys. If you have any questions or anything to add to this, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. And for those of you who want to speak to me or work with me, we have group coaching, which is going to be starting soon. And I'm going to be showing up every week to coach you and give you the skills that you need to recover from your porn or masturbation addiction. So stay tuned for that. Now, if you don't have time for that and you need help right now, visit me at elevatedrecovery.org/request a call. The link to that is in the description below to speak to me and find out if and how I can help you with your challenge. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle, and I'll see you on the brighter side of this journey. Have a great day.